Nosusena Hlahlatso was born on 18 August 1965 in Incheon and got her bachelor's and master's degree in zoology from the University of Yangon. While she was on her studies, Minister Susanna started as a clerk and later as a project manager at World Vision, which promoted her education with leadership workshop and an MBA in NGO leadership from Eastern University, Philadelphia, United States. In 2003, she joined Current Women's Action Group, where she became an executive director in 2010. In the 2015 Myanmar general elections, she contested as constituency of Yangon region for Amyotha Thuthau from National League for Democracy and won a seat by 172,295 votes. In the 2020 Myanmar general elections, she contested for current ethnic affairs minister of Yangon region and won by 106,144 votes, although she is unable to assume her seat due to the military coup. On 16 April 2021, when the committee representing Phi Dongsu Pluto formed the National Unity Government, Minister Nosusena became the Minister of Women, Youth, and Children Affairs. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Minister Nosusena Hlahlatso. Minister Nosusena, the time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this special event, inviting me to share about my political experience and then more about the NUG and also for the recommendation for the ASEAN and Indonesia, how to collaborate for the democracy in the region. So thank you, Edgar, for introducing me. And I really humble to be here. And I think all the students and faculties and professors here, yeah, I see greetings from Myanmar and greetings from people of Myanmar. So let me share my presentation. Can I share?
Yes, Minister Susanna.
Okay, yeah. Can you see my presentation?
It is shown clearly, Minister.
Okay, so so as an introduction, I'm part of the member of cabinet from National Unity Government of Myanmar. I'm the Ministry of Women, Youth, and Children Affairs. So I used to be served as a member of Parliament for 5 years, and then 2020 election, I elected as a minister again. But because of the coup, I could not take up my role. But I'm happy that I can still serve my people with this unity government of Myanmar. So this is the topic is very interesting. What can ASEAN and Indonesians can do to help for the democracy of Myanmar? So this is the short background. So 2020 general election in Myanmar was done successfully, but the military could not accept and deny the result. And I would like to say this is not the first time. In 1990 election also, when the opposition won a landslide, the military just denied that and then, oh, this is not for the political position. This is for the, referendum, something like that. But this time they used the excuse as like this election is fraud, and they could not accept the result of the election. So on February 1st, 2022, it is we call unlawful coup. They even broke the 2008 constitution that they draw for themselves. And the State Administration Council, we call SAC, formed by the Myanmar military. And this is discounting the will of people, instead uses its power to attack the people of Myanmar. And it neglects the people's needs and ignores the fundamental rights, human rights. Okay, this is what we can see in Myanmar everywhere. So military use massive airstrike in everywhere. And last time they used in the border area and also ethnic area, but they use everywhere now in the city, now in the middle Myanmar. So this is one of the hospital that they destroy. And the children, women and children, the people have to flee for their lives. You can see like they have to cross the rivers and then they have to run for their lives. For the time being, it's more than 2 million people have to flee for their lives, become IDP and the refugees. And many, the airstrike, missile attack, they fall into the land of Thailand. So it has become the threat for the region also. Okay, so this is about NUG. NUG is formed by the CRPH committee representing Piangsu Luto, like Parliament, on the April 16, 2021, after the coup. The CRPH formed with the lawmakers of 2020 election. So these are the head of state. U Win Myint, President, Dua Lashila, the acting president, Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, state councillor, and Man Win Kai Tan, the prime minister. But among them, U Win Myint and Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, they are in the prison, arrested by the SAC. Okay, this is the vision and mission values of NUG. The vision is we shall build a peaceful federal democracy union to guarantee freedom, justice, and equality. The values are democracy rights, gender equality, basic human rights, and equality and self-determination, collective leadership, diversity, social harmony, solidarity and non-discrimination, and protection of minority rights. These are the vision and values of NUG. Okay, this is the roadmap. We have the 8 steps of roadmap. So this is the established Parliamentary Representative Committee, PRC, to elect the representative, and to create the platform structure for the political parties, ethnic armed organizations, and civil society organizations. So it's mean NUCC, National Unity Consultative Council. So number 3, to develop agreed federal democracy charter. It's finished already. So to establish interim unity government, now we are talking about NUG. So it's also done. 5 is to determine a strategy of eradication of dictatorship, abolish of 2008 constitution, and building the federal democracy union and implement it. So it's already done. 2008 constitution is very controversial, including very, the discrimination law in this constitution, so abolished in April 2021. And to convene constitutional convention to develop and validate a new constitution. And so it's going on. And 7 is to hold national referendum to validate and enact the Federal Democracy Constitution. So the number 7 is still going on. And number 8 is to establish legislative, executive, and judicial pillars according to the newly validated and enacted Federal Democracy Constitution and exercise constitutionalism. So far, we finished 5 steps. And now number 6 is continuing. So this is end of the roadmap number 7 and 8. So this is the roadmap of NUG. Okay, the impact of the coup. For the time being, so far, more than 1 year, 1 year and 8 months. 14,000 people has been arrested and more than 2,000 people killed by the junta. And 1,200 people has been sentenced to prison. 74 has been sentenced to death, including 2 children. And 35,000 houses were burned. So these are the impact of the coup happened after February 2021. But we believe that as an NUG, the role of any true government is to ensure people to live their lives protected by fundamental human rights. So let me continue what we are doing. So NUG was formed with 17 ministries and implementing the service provision, protection, and advocating for the people of Myanmar. They are Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of International Cooperation, Ministry of Health, Education, Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Electricity and Energy, Ministry of Communication, Information Technology, Ministry of Natural Resource Environmental Conservation, Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Women, Youth and Children Affairs, Ministry of Human Rights, Ministry of Planning, Finance and Investment, Ministry of Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Management, Ministry of Federal Union Affairs, Ministry of Justice. So we can see among them 4 of the ministries are new initiated by the NUG, like our ministry, Ministry of Women, Youth and Children Affairs, Ministry of Human Rights, Ministry of Federal Union, Ministry of Justice. They are very new ministry that the people of Myanmar has been asking for a long time, but now we can implement with the new NUG government. So let me continue about the Ministry of Women, Youth and Children Affairs activities. So we have the 3 objectives. We call 3 Ps: to protect, provide, and promote. To protect women and young people and children from human rights violation. Provide the safety, basic needs, and survival. Promote them, their participation in the building of federal democratic nation. So this is, as a government, we also emphasize on the policy shaping. For the time being, we can develop so many research paper and policy paper. These you can get from our website. The first one is Fight, Fire, and Flee, the situation of IDP women, children, and youth in Myanmar after the coup. The second one is Socioeconomic Impact on Youth, current situation. And we also developed the Code of Conduct for the People Defense Force on Women and Children. It's recently, we developed in September. And CAAC guideline that China conflict that we are working with the United Nations and PSHEA policy and protection of sexual harassment and abuse policy. So it's ongoing, and the coup impact of children and the role of LGBTQI in Myanmar Spring Revolution is still processing. So these are the advocacy papers and reports for UN and international communities. We recently submit our report on the women and girls in rural area to the UN Assembly in September 15, 2022. And for advocacy, we are doing so many advocacy training and meeting, and also like the webinar. Like this one is with the Japan MP, Member of Parliament. The Japan parliamentarians, they are very strong to support Myanmar democracy. They form emergent democracy again in Myanmar union. They form a Member of Parliament union, and they are working together in the parliament with the government. And we also work closely with the ASEAN for the women issue, children issue, and human rights issue. And recently, we are very close with the Indonesian communities. This is the heart-to-heart program, Indonesian Myanmar Youth Dialogues. So this is happened in 15 October last month with the FPCI, Foreign Policy Community Indonesia. So we can have the platform sharing for Myanmar youth and Indonesia youth. And humanitarian aids. So far, as our ministry, our mainly focus in pregnant women, because they are on run in the conflict area, and also the SAC burned the villages and cities. So we focus on the pregnant women and support them. Last year, we can support 50,000 pregnant women, and this year, in the half year only, we can support 45,000 pregnant women, and providing maternity kits and hygiene kits and dignity kits to the women in the conflict, and providing financial assistance to the families affected by the fire, and providing food, shelters, and medicines to the IDP areas, and providing financial assistance and legal support to political prisoners, and supporting CDMers. CDMA stand for Civil Disobedience Movement. After the coup, like hundreds of thousands government staff, they stopped working for the gender, and then they joined with NUT and working for us. So we give them financial assistance and shelter and urgent needs. Okay, these are the groundwork that our ministry is doing. We follow up the pregnant women and also the injured patient on the battlefield, and we give our assistance to them. And these, you can see, this is the refugee camp, IDP camp, that in our control area. We support with them with nutrition and also the medicines to the people, to the IDPs. Okay, this is also we support to the political prisoner, especially we support the women prisoners. So we send the food and necessary assistance to the prison. We also support with the social support counseling service. Okay, this is we work with the border area COVID-19 vaccine. We can send our vaccine through Thai border area to Karen State, Karenni State, Shan State, and Chin State. So we can successfully implement our vaccine operation. And this is the NUG and ethnic control area. You can see in the map that more than 60% we can control, and also we can have our service provision to that area. And this is the access for the winning strategy. We believe that we got people support, not only the Myanmar people, we call diaspora, Myanmar people who are in the international, they are very eager to support NUG. Now we have a campaign, 16-day activism campaign. Now they are doing at their countries. And CSO support. After the coup, the CSO could not stay inside Myanmar. They moved to NGO control area. They moved to the border area. Only the few CSO remain inside the SAC control area. I can say more than 80% they are working with us. And we have a very strong CDM movement. Still, they are strong, working for us and standing with the Myanmar people. And we are lucky to have our UN representative in New York, the H.E. Ujomoto, who is stand for the people of Myanmar and doing the advocacy and then lobby in UN. And we have ASEAN and we have UN. They are very strongly condemned to the coup and then stand for Myanmar people. Okay, this is something someone developed for us, that the resistant as a NUG, as a resistant government. We have the public mobilization, coordination and preparation, and social service support. We are doing this one step by step and with the groups. So social service, health, education, IDP, food and shelter, CDM support, and aid to the political prisoners. That the former slide showing them detail. Okay, these are the challenges and opportunities. As more and more NUG is controlling area, the SAC committed more killings, torture, and arbitrary arrests by the Myanmar military regime. And humanitarian aids are dire need because more and more people are flee from their lives. So NUG needs more than, for the millions of people. And more engagement for the inclusive political participation. And we have NUCC, and we can also have in some of the ASEAN event, we can include inclusive participation. We can also include the Rohingya community in the event. And we have more ethnic control area. We have like civilianly inclusive political solution. Now everyone is eager to participate in the political solution. And people-led effective democratic governance in federal system. And if we win, we can end 70 years of civil war. You may know that Myanmar is starting the conflict since the independence. So many lives are given, and no, we are become the least developed country and the poorest in the ASEAN. So we can end the civil war and the hate speech and discrimination. Myanmar is very famous for the hate speech and discrimination because the dictator, they use the discrimination, divide and rule among the different religions and different ethnic groups. And so this is the hope for the enjoy culture differences. So this revolution is not only to end the dictatorship, to end the hate speech and discrimination. So recommendations. We would like to ask the direct humanitarian aids through cross-border channels with local CSO. Please do not engage with gender. So we also warn some of the international organizations who are now working with the gender. Please stop your support to gender because these humanitarians not reach to the most needy community. And please impose global arms embargoes and sanction aviation fuel and targeted sanction to the military business. Now the military, they use heavy airstrike to the people of Myanmar, their own people, they kill their own people. So this is very important. And I'll work with NUG and Ministry of Women, Youth and Children Affairs in emergency program. So we have the program for the delivering room, cash transferred for the pregnant women, building shelters for the IDP, basic food and supplies for the conflict area. And to give more pressure to release the political prisoners and create the space for the meaningful dialogue to end military involvement in the politics. Recently, the SAC released the prisoner, but political prisoner is only a few, only 10 or 15 political prisoner. So we need more pressure on it and recognize NUG and helping us in a new federal nation building. So I would like to highlight recent the quote of Kamala Harris, the Vice President of USAC yesterday. She was in the APEC in Bangkok when meeting with the Prime Minister of Thailand. She said, urge international community support for the people of Burma as they seek to restore their country democratic transition. The democratic transition is very important for ASEAN, like Indonesia, very pro-democracy country. If we are fall into the dictatorship, and now SAC is signed a contract with Russia to have the nuclear weapons, so it is also threatened to the region. So please, I would like to echo that support our struggle. So my last call for ASEAN and Indonesia is, we ask every organization and individual, ASEAN and Indonesia, to join forces to prevent and end dictatorship in Myanmar. We need to continue to believe in the power that flows from people, not dictators. It is also aligned with people-centered ASEAN approach. And finally, do not forget Myanmar. Help us now in our fight for freedom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Susana. Thank you very much, Minister Susanna. This session was very remarkable and thoughtful here. There are some important points about the lecture that, if I may, I would like to summary the lecture here, we could see that the main problem that Myanmar faced today started from the denial of the 2020 democratic elections by the military junta. And here we could see, since the forming of the NUG, there is a political roadmap to ensure the establishment of public service from the government, from the democratic governments towards the people, and how that not only forming the democratic government, but also try to embrace all organizations, all groups within the society itself. And we could see that there are many challenges from the existence of military regime that brought torture, killings, and also there is more needs on humanitarian aid. And we could see, but on the other hand, we could also see there are opportunities from we could see that more ethnic control areas, for example, and also try to have more civilian-led inclusive political solutions. And if this solution could win the heart of the people, and also winning in political sector, it could also end the 70 years of civil wars between Myanmar. And there is a call for ASEAN and Indonesian people to urge to join forces to prevent and end dictatorship in Myanmar, and also need to continue to believe in the power that flows from the people in order to push this agenda. And the last thing is, do not forget about Myanmar, and I believe everyone also giving support for the democracy of Myanmar as well. Thank you so much for the lecture, Minister Susanna here. Now we have come to the Q&A session. Once again, I would like to remind participants who wish to ask questions, please type in your question on Q&A box available on the downside of the screen. We will only address questions with the name and institutions during the Q&A session. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please just type in your question in Q&A session, and we could start from the first one. We could start from Haidar Fadil Wardoyo. This is, I believe, students from our university. Let me read the questions for you. This is an interesting discussion. It is also stated that ASEAN is one of assets for a winning strategy in Myanmar. It can also be seen regarding the challenges that are present of the issues in Myanmar and the recommendation given by Myanmar government itself. However, what are the main challenges surrounding the situation in Myanmar, so that assistance from ASEAN and the countries within are experiencing problems in here? So maybe how are the main challenges for ASEAN and also countries in ASEAN to bring up or to deliver aid to Myanmar people in here? Please, Minister Susanna, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. Yes, I add ASEAN as assess for the democracy of Myanmar. But on the other hand, we also have so many question and challenge. Like, since the coup, ASEAN have their, emergency meeting and then issue the five-point consensus to bring the democracy back to Myanmar. But the problem is the junta, the military dictator, they never listen. They never listen to like ASEAN and international agenda. they have their own agenda to hold the power, and then to make the people kneel down in front of them, and then they would like to crush every opposition of them. They would like to build their empire of the dictator. Now we can see their steps that maybe they can be isolation from the whole world, or even ASEAN, they don't care. They would like to go by themselves or something like that. So now recently ASEAN, with the ASEAN General Assembly, they again issued the 15 points consensus. So we need more pressure and like carrot and stick, that to follow the the 15-point consensus, because the ASEAN is very much likely to support the Myanmar democracy, but the consensus and also the other time time limitation and mechanism is weak. So this military regime, they take this opportunity, and then they are not following the suggestion or agenda of ASEAN. So we need more pressure, and also need more mechanism to tame these dictators. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Minister Susanna. Maybe we can move on to the next question. This is from Inas Hainun Shafia from UI, also from Universitas Islam Indonesia. The question is, from Indonesian perspective, either political and economic sector, what are the engagement or cooperation that should be prioritized for the Indonesian government regarding the condition in Myanmar, where both of the sectors are urgently need to be recovered?
Yes, thank you. Myanmar is not conflict. This is a revolution. I would like to say this is a people revolution. So the people are very keen to win. I recently met with the women farmers group, and they are asking for the agriculture loan for the rehabilitation. Actually, in spite of Myanmar military fighting with the fighter jets to that area, they are very keen to walk and produce for food for their own people. So these kind of rehabilitation program are needed for the people of Myanmar. And also, we all know that HA Center, the ASEAN Humanitarian Aid Center, they would like to work for the Myanmar people. So as far as I know, they engage with both, with the military and also NUG. But we are worried that the SAC is not stand for people of Myanmar. They are not well organized, and NUG is well organized, and then we have every department and every ground staff to deliver the humanitarian aids. Whatever happened, we can deliver the aids within 24 hours. We have the capacity like that. So I would like to recommend that stop engaging with the SAC and working with NUG, that the humanitarian aids and rehabilitation program can be initiated better. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Susanna, for the answer. Maybe we could go to the next question. This is from Prima Diani Divida Widya Putri. from UE, there are two questions here. The first, how can ASEAN, with its non-intervention principle, create a space for mediation in terms of Myanmar conflict? And the second one is about international community support for people of Burma. How significant the support of people could actually help the people of Burma here?
Yeah. As international also urged ASEAN to be the mediator for the Myanmar. And I also would like to remind that this is not a conflict. This is the revolution, because we would like to end the dictatorship. We would like to start a new chapter to end all the discrimination and all the oppression in Myanmar. If the military is still in the politics, genocide and discrimination and hate speech will be continued. We all suffer, including Muslim community, including Rohingya community. I belong to Korean ethnic. So our parents, grandparents suffering for 70 years. So the main thing is this is the people revolution, not the conflict. So if ASEAN is a moderator, and as we are people-centered big organization, we should listen to the voice of people of Myanmar. Myanmar people, they don't want to see the military in the politics anymore. So the ASEAN should come up with their strategy, like to withdraw military from the politics, and then we can have our dialogue, and then military should be the protection for the people of Myanmar, not for killing and fighting to the people. So the concept is very clear. And the second question is international support or something like that. Can you please?
Yes, correct. It is about how the public support or international community support the Myanmar people in here. Because if we talk about state-to-state government, it is clear. But what about us as international community need to do to support Myanmar people?
Yes. So we need a lot, the diplomatic, the diplomatic force also need to support us, and also the resource, the financial resource and human resource. Also, we need to rehabilitation for our country. The first is the SAC. They need accountability. They have to accountable for what they have done. So they are committing the genocide. They committing killing the people and rape, and also burn the people properties. So they have to accountable for their action. So we need international support for the mechanism like ICC, ICJ, and also the rehabilitation for the people of Myanmar. So we need collaboration a lot. We need the synergy, working together and forcefully, and now we are suffer a lot from the airstrike from the military. So we have to stop them. So we would like to seriously ask for the, the technique and mechanism to prevent from the airstrike. So maybe the technique support or financial support will be very much appreciated. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Minister. There is also another question. This one is from JM from Chiang Mai University, Thailand. The question is, it seems many people in Indonesia mostly know about Myanmar in the context of the Rohingya crisis in 2017 onward. What is the position of NUG on citizenship, rights, repatriations for the Rohingya people?
Yes, since last year, we have issued our position paper for the Rohingya issue. You can get from website or from the page, I think, Our stand is very clear. We would like to go to the, very pro-freedom and pro-democracy. We would like to end the discrimination. We believe that to rebuild our country, we need inclusive participation, including Rohingya. They also very strong access to become the rebuild of our country. So to repatriation of the refugees, we would like to work with the international community. And we also now discussion on the, citizenship law, 1982 citizenship law. This is the discriminate law for the people of Myanmar, including Rohingya. We have so many unfair law. So we are doing one by one. So one of them is citizenship law. So and also we also have the child birth registration law also. So we are doing one by one that it will be the good foundation for the democracy of Myanmar. So please work with us and support us in our attempt for the democracy and justice for the Rohingya. Yeah.
Thank you, Minister. Okay, the next question comes from Tariq Fatih Fauzan from UE. The question is about, you already described about a lot of human needs that is urgently needed by the Myanmar. So how could the current government respond to that fast emergency needs, and how could the government tackle with that problem or that issues?
Yes, we have the ministry, MOHADM, Humanitarian Assistance and Emergency Support. We have the ministry. So that ministry is led by the former minister, and also in NUG, he also taking care of this humanitarian assistance ministry. So they are very effective, they are very effective, and whatever need they can reach the assistant in 24 hours. So we have hundreds of thousands staff, CDM, who working with us in the ground. They are they are government staff, so they based in the local area, so they know very well. And then we also working closely with the ethnic groups in the ethnic control area. They are very good in operation and delivering goods. So for our ministry, we focus on the pregnant women and children. So I really confident to my staff and service and mechanism because whenever we have our operation, we can do on time and assistant can reach to the needy very quick way. So I do not have doubt that the NUG government is very capable and we have needed mechanism and logistic everywhere in Myanmar. Yeah.
Thank you, Minister. The next question is from Muhammad Faris Abdullah from WE. The question is about is the protection for women and children from the ministry only targeted to certain groups that support the NUG or for all people of Myanmar in here?
Yeah, as a government, we support everyone. You know, we do not have discriminate or we do not have selection area. We support all of them. You know, for example, SAC committed so many crime against humanity, including rape to the women. They use rape as a weapon in the conflict area. So regarding the rape victim survival, we support with the medical case, and also we support the safe shelter and counseling. So these are the, we have like service provider on the ground, and also we have this kind of system there. And recently, I think last month, we support the 2 Rohingyas women in the Rakhine State, the rape survival. So we do not have discrimination or any target group. Those who are needed, we support them. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Minister. I'm sorry, I would like to remind all the participants that there is no raise hand feature in this webinar. So if you have any questions, you can just write down the questions on the Q&A box. And the next question is from Faiz Bisma Feanista Azhar from WE, Indonesia. And do you think that ASEAN response is regarding the Myanmar is good enough, or is there anything that could be done better according to you?
Yes, ASEAN could do better, more than this. You know, we are waiting for a long time since last year. The ASEAN 5 points consensus, but nothing happened because the one that we are dealing are not very much polite or civilized. They have the history of the SAC. They have the history of human rights violation and genocide in the history. So dealing with them may need more strategy and harder policy to handle them. So ASEAN need for more pressure and more tactics to dealing with those, you know, dictators, because they are not very much good in following international regulation and ASEAN framework. Yeah.
Thank you, Minister Susanna. The next question is from Jeffrey Rahmansyah from WE. The question is regarding what could Indonesian government do regarding this issue, whether a bilateral agreement, and what exactly does Myanmar need, if particular needs from Indonesia in this case?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank Indonesia government and Indonesia people who continue support for the people of Myanmar. So in my slideshow, you can also see that many Indonesia organizations, they support our democracy movement, especially the young people. They have a space for advocacy and also, talking points to reach to the international. So we really appreciate it. I think Indonesia is very strong for the democracy among the ASEAN. So please continue your contribution and your pressure and your support in ASEAN as well as international to advocate more for Myanmar democracy, because Myanmar can become very strong democracy after we can end the dictators. So this is our hope, that we will also become the assets for the democracy in ASEAN and also the international, because the people of Myanmar are very much work with the freedom and democracy. They are fighting for. They give so many lives. They give everything. And the determination is very clear. They don't want to live under the dictators. So they are very clear. So Indonesia, I hope that Indonesia will hear and then will add more strength and pressure and resource to work with the people of Myanmar.
Thank you, Minister Susanna here. There are numbers of interesting questions. The next one is from Fatimah Amir from WI Indonesia. We could see that there are many programs that's already described in here, and we could see that NUG try to campaign the democracy of Myanmar. So what could the NUG do to overcome the gap, social gap, economic gap that occurs within minorities group such as Karen or Rohingya in Myanmar itself?
Yes, in my presentation, most of the area are controlled by NUG, but we are still struggling with attack by the SAC, We have to protect our people, and, with the airstrike and everything, the people suffer a lot, and they burn the people properties, like they burn Rohingya in 2017. They burn everywhere now, and this is become very threatened to the people of Myanmar. For the economy to be open, we could not emphasize on it yet, because we are busy with humanitarian aids and protection and emergency needs for the people. But in our NUG, we have a Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Finance, and they are doing what they can. They try to develop the policy and framework for the economic development, and our minister are working very hard to contact international and to get the support for the people of Myanmar. Like I mentioned that the women, they would like to grow the crops for the next year, because the people will face with starving if they are not growing now. So they ask for the agriculture loan. So this kind of gaps we need to fill, but it's very difficult because of the attack by the SAC, but we will do whatever we can. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Minister Susanna. The next question is from Jalaluddin Rizky Mulia from UI Indonesia. The question is about how is the view of NUG regarding the principle of non-intervention within ASEAN itself, because it is considered as one of the obstacles within the ASEAN regarding on pushing the military junta within Myanmar itself. Is there any urgency to revise or probably erase that principles from ASEAN?
Yeah, it is also the the bottleneck for the ASEAN, I think, and non-interference policy. But now ASEAN, it's using like they prevent the SAC to involve in the, you know, the meetings and seminar, and also the General Assembly. So now SAC could not participate in the, you know, the ASEAN meetings. But I think ASEAN have to more open for the NUG, you know. Now we can represent in the, you know, ASEAN University Student Conference. The NUG can represent. But we also need some other important event. So I think ASEAN need to work more than this. Not only prevent the SAC, they need to open more space for the NUG to participate. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Minister. The next question is from Farhan Abidin from UI Indonesia. We already talked much about the importance of ASEAN in here. You also already mentioned regarding other international organizations' role for supporting the NUG itself. So, is there any significant achievement, such as from the UN, for example, regarding support for NUG in this case?
Yes, the first is they accept the UN representative Ujomoto officially, so that we can work a lot in UN, like reporting about the human rights situation of Myanmar. Our ministry can send the report on the women situation of Myanmar, something like that. So this is a very good access for us. And you know, the Secretary General recently said that the international is not working enough for the people of Myanmar. They know the weakness, and also I think this is the alarm for the international to do more for the Myanmar people, you know. And this the force that we face is not polite. They are dictators, and they kill the people. So we need protection. They also need to provide us with protection device, like you know, to prevent the airstrike, the system, and also like drone and something like that. So we need this kind of support for the people of Myanmar. Actually, we start with a non-violence movement, but when the military start killing the people, the young people could not stand for it, and then it's become revolution. So I repeatedly say, this is not conflict, this is the revolution. So every freedom starts with a revolution. So we would like the international to hear our voice, listen to our young people, and support what we need. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. We saw that there is an importance of ASEAN and other international organizations such as UN to support this revolution, as you say. Here we could see that there are political and also security matters that you already said regarding the support that other international organizations can do. So is there any other sectors that also could be the focus from ASEAN or international organizations as instrument to accelerate the re-democratization of Myanmar? This is also one of the questions here from Khalid from WE. Thank you.
Yes, of course, you know, ASEAN can be the leading role for bringing democracy in the region, you know. The working for Myanmar, Myanmar democracy also very important. And they can also ask the membership states, those who are not very keen, you know, very active, you know, there are some member states, those who are not very active, and then they always using non-interfering policy of the ASEAN. So they might know that this is a regional issue, not Myanmar issue. I would like to admit that Myanmar also not very good in the past for the, you know, active participation in the democracy. Not only President Thein Sein time, the NLD time, because I was in the ASEAN Assembly every year as a member of Parliament, you know, IPA, ASEAN Inter-Parliamentary Assembly. Myanmar is not very interested in democracy. I can say, because I'm the one of the representative. I really regret it, you know, because we need to work on, you know, actively participatory, and also encourage other state members to work together to prevent the dictator or atrocity to you know, growing in our region. So I think when Myanmar become the Democracy Federal Union, they should also very active participation in the ASEAN membership, because this is a very good lesson learned for us, lesson learned for Myanmar, and lesson learned for ASEAN too. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Minister Susanna. Now, unfortunately, we have come to the last question of this webinar. Minister Susanna, please kindly answer the final questions along with your final remarks to close this webinar. The last question is from Saviari Raihan Wahyudi from WE Indonesia. So what can young people do to help voice the rights of civil society in Myanmar?
I think Indonesian youth are very active and very supportive to Myanmar democracy. Like in my presentation, you may see that the Indonesian youth are very active in, supporting us. So please continue to do that and be the advocates for the democracy of the region, for ASEAN and for Myanmar. More and more, the atrocity is we can see in other part of the region too, invading the other countries and attacking the people. So we need to work together as a family. So, and please also physically visit and meet our young people, like exchange program. Last year we have the young exchange program. So they personally meet with the young people and meet with them. And we also have very bright and very capable young people in Myanmar. I would like to give an example that the Spring University of Myanmar, it was established by the young people of Myanmar. The president of the university, only 24 years, and then the vice president are also only their 20s. And there are more than 100,000 students in their school. And they link with like 10 international universities across the globe, like US, Australia, New Zealand. Yeah, I really encouraging when I meet with them. The Spring University established after the Spring Revolution. So we have so many assets to work together. So please work with our young people, and if possible, come and visit us, meet with them, and listen to them. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the final answer and also the closing remarks from Minister Susanna. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a fruitful discussion to have with the Minister of Women, Youth and Children Affairs of National Unity Government of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar. Finally, we are reaching the end of our session for today. Thank you for coming to the event. I hope there are plenty of things we could learn about the dynamics of Myanmar politics and how Indonesia and ASEAN could act regarding this issue. On behalf of Universitas Islam Indonesia, I am Enggar Furi Herdianto, signing off from Yogyakarta. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.